Look, ayy, took a break, now I'm back in my bag. Ain't no waiting, you ain't first and you last. Told my bae I'm headed straight to the casket. What you want and put the rest in the stash. Ain't politicking, I ain't wearing no mask. Dark times when I think of my past. Pull up with a stick, you won't see the hit. Like we took a picture without the flash. Me and Quan drawing up at the table, got Pat with me, so you know it's a kill. So different, yeah, to be the committed. We independent, we ain't signing no deal. Too much faking going on in the city. You see me with it, then you know it's for real. High demand, high power. Real ones, no cowards.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Playback Podcast, and today I have an actual close friend of mine. He does so many things, so we'll get into that. So I'm not going to run down the list of the things he's good at, but you guys may know him, may not know him, but if you don't know him, you're going to know him after this. I got Trandon Welch, man. How you doing, bro?
Man, what's up?
It's
What's
good
up,
to see
man?
you, man.
It's
I'm
good
glad
to be here.
You made it. We're going to jump right into it, man.
Okay.
So people want to know, what do you actually do?
I mean, I don't have I don't know if there's a word for it.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I think overall, if I had to, title it one word, I would call it I'm a creative consultant, or just a creative. I'm just a creative, man, and so whatever I feel led to create, that's what I create.
So you got these different lanes of creativity, though.
Yeah.
I've known you. Well, I'm not gonna say my age. I'm not gonna say your age because I can.
That's fine, man.
I'm not in my 20s no more, but I've known you almost 20 years. Like
Yeah.
we've literally grown up together.
Absolutely.
From church to long suit coats to
Absolutely.
sitting all night playing drums.
Absolutely.
Most people don't know that you actually play multiple instruments.
Yeah.
Or you play instruments. Period.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
a drummer. You play bass. So you're a musical guy first. You were raised in the church.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Musical guy.
But people see you all over the place doing different things. You might have a camera in your hand. You might be in a business meeting. You might be doing this and doing that. Like, out of all, tell me some of the stuff that you actually do as an occupation.
Right now?
Yeah.
So right now, I focus more so toward creativity in the lanes of photography, videography, branding, and artist consulting.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
And y'all see he just named off a few, and that ain't all that he's done or he does right now, and we're gonna get into it. So tell me about Trandon as a child. Tell me about elementary. Tell me about the neighborhood you grew up in.
Man, so I'm gonna say this. As you ask me these questions, I'm bad with my memory is terrible. Like, it's very, very terrible. So anybody who's watching this, if I don't name you or if I forget you, charge it to my memory is terrible,
it's
man.
All good.
But I do for most of my childhood, I went to J.S. Clark. For all of my elementary education, it was J.S. Clark, which I loved. And at the time, I didn't know now J.S. Clark is predominantly black or either all the way black. Yeah. But when I was there, I think it was like 50-50 or 60-40 white and black. And so a lot of my friends were white. And my dad, when he was alive, he was a quartet singer, and so he used to travel a lot. And so in elementary, I was playing sports, but any free time I had, I was on the road with him. Wow. Yeah. And so, I thought I was going to the pros or whatever. In football, I thought I was going to be the next Shannon Sharp. Okay. So I was a tight end. I had some weight on me, and I could catch. So, I thought I was going to do that growing up. But any free time I had that wasn't in school, I was in church. So growing up, I always saw the behind. I wasn't just at church like a pew, somebody on a pew, but I saw the behind the scenes of it.
The scary stuff.
Yeah, so even at a young age, I think the pastor for my very first church was like my cousin. Wow. And so I was always seeing more than what the regular churchgoers saw. Whether it was good or bad, I just always saw it. And I think my whole family was like singers or whatever, and so of course we was raised in that. But when they put me in the choir, and I think they tried to make me lead a song, I knew right then I'm touching them drums, like I'm getting on them drums soon. You. So I started I guess officially playing drums maybe at the age of like 8 or 9, and I think I started getting like my first check for playing drums maybe around 10 or 11. Wow. And so I equated that with my small brain at the time to like, I go to church to get paid, and so, if you grow up in a black family, if you start making any type of money on your own, that you got to start using that money. You know what I'm saying?
You pitch in somewhere.
Yeah. So we and this just elementary. Or we going all the way up.
Oh, we stop at elementary.
All right, yeah. So elementary. I mean, I was playing sports. I was traveling with my dad and his quartet group. I wasn't playing for him at the time. I was just traveling, and I mean, like, you know, if anybody who watching know anything about quartet, they all dress alike, and so every suit they bought, he bought me the same suit.
Yeah.
You know, from little like 2-3 years old, you know, all the way up. And so I traveled with him. I played sports, and you know, I started playing drums at the church.
So in elementary, you said it was 50-50, whites and blacks.
Yeah, it's probably 60-40 white, 60% white,
Wow.
40% black at Jazz Clark.
And where did you grow up? What neighborhood were you living in at the time?
I think South 6th Street, maybe. Like, I don't. All that's a blur. Like,
but you wasn't seeing like white people just.
Oh no, it was no white people in my neighborhood.
So was it a culture shock when you would go to school from 8 to whatever, and then you catch the bus or get dropped off, and it's like, oh man, that's a different.
Well, it really wasn't a culture shock because I was a busy kid, you know. So I went to Jazz Clark from kindergarten through 6.
Yeah.
So I had friends all through the school year. Going over sleepovers at you know, white people house, all of that. Like, my best friends were Caucasians.
Yeah.
You know, I had some black friends as well, but they was mostly sports.
Yeah.
You know, but my actual just friends that I hung out with, I mean, you know, they were white.
Yeah.
You know, and so going home or whatever, I mean, we used to get dropped off at my grandma's house when I was young.
Okay.
And that was on the east, even though I stayed on the south.
Okay.
And so you know, going home, me, my sister, my cousins, we would all be at my grandma's house, and I think we would watch Power Rangers or whatever like that.
Yeah.
My dad would pull up, I'll go to rehearsal or something with him, and it just go over again. And during the summer, it was just like, you know, church, or on the road with my pops.
Yeah. So elementary, you said you played football.
Yeah.
So that was the only dream. So that's when Trandon started dreaming, but his aspiration was to be an NFL player.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna be a professional football player.
And it stopped right there.
Yeah. I mean, I loved music, and so I think we was the first one. So at Jazz Clark at the time, they didn't have a football team. We was the first football team, and I want to say we started the first band.
Wow.
So I brought my snare from my drum set, and because I don't even think they had instruments, so everybody kind of brought their own instrument or whatever, and we started a band at Jazz Clark. Yeah, so so I always knew I loved music, but I thought I was gonna be a professional football player.
So we go from Jazz Clark kindergarten all the way to 6th grade, and we segue to where did you go for junior high, high school?
I went to Carroll Junior High, and that was a culture shock.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to get to. How much so though?
No, it was complete culture shock because like your first day, it was like what side you claim.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't, you know, oblivious to my culture, but I never had to like worry about gang bang or nothing like that. It was just like I went to school, I had black friends, I had white friends, and I was good in football. You know, my elementary, I was one of the popular kids, you know, so everything, life was good for, you know, all of that time. And then going to Carroll Junior High, which I cried like a baby.
Oh, you didn't want to go?
No, I didn't want to go at all. I thought I was going to, which is now Neville Junior High.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, you know, in sports, they kind of like, it's kind of like a, kind of like you start at one elementary and they kind of know you all the way up. So I didn't know any of the coaches at Carroll Junior High. Like,
Jazz Clark is not the feeder school for Carroll. So
it definitely wasn't then.
Yeah, for the ones that don't know, Jazz Clark, if you went to Jazz Clark, you were supposed to go to Lee or Neville or somewhere. Yeah. You definitely didn't have no friends going from Jazz Clark to
but I think they changed the zone or something. But I think I still could have went to Lee. My mom said it was because my cousins was already going to Carroll Junior High. Right. Okay, and so, man, I cried like a baby. And so I went to, you know, football tryouts or whatever, made the team, started as a cornerback. All I knew was catching the ball and every now and then blocking as a tight end. Put me at cornerback.
They want you to defend somebody.
Started, though. Played Washington Junior High. They did a reverse. you know.
Was that the end of your football career?
That was the end of my career. The coach, you know, I ain't gonna, you know, curse on your podcast, but he told me sit down in a very in a very strong manner. He told me go ahead and have a seat. And so I mean, I remember that day vividly because I feel like that kept me from going to the league.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? That kept me.
That reverse did.
That reverse, man, it messed me up. So I went toward the wrong guy. They scored. They scored on the play.
So they don't do you dirty.
They scored on the play. But up until then, I knew nothing about playing cornerback.
And they stuck you out there.
I
because
stayed.
They didn't know you though.
No, they didn't know me.
Yeah.
They didn't know me at all. And so I kept playing. I played second string for the remainder of the season. I never started again.
Sure. Yeah.
And I don't know when this became my mentality. Maybe I got it from my dad or whatever, but it's more like a Ricky Bobby type thing. If you're not first, you last.
Yeah, for sure.
So when I realized, like, and in hindsight, I probably could have kept going and made some of it. But when I realized, like, I'm not a star anymore, it went straight music. Yeah. It went straight like.
So let's try something else.
Yeah, let's try something else. So at this point, I'm living in Garden Park.
Okay.
You know, that's way almost Richwood.
Yeah.
And so most of my friends, I got friends in the neighborhood. Most of them going to Washita Junior High, which was even crazy because I'm the only one going to Carroll in the neighborhood. Yeah. And so there was one other guy. He was in high school, Jamaro Hill, who owned the Cookout.
Okay.
He was in the high school band, and everybody used to hoop at my house. And I had the basketball goal, so everybody used to hoop at my house. He came over and he was like, man, if you're not going to play football, come over to the band. They knew I played drums. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, I'll play snare at the high school band. I'm still in junior high, though.
Okay, got you.
Going to my 8th grade year, he take me over there, and they got like maybe 15 snares at the time. This when high school band was like the thing. If you wasn't
almost equivalent to football.
Yeah, it was like that. So he take me in there. It's like a culture shock. I walk in, you know, all these musicians take me to the band room, see the band director, and he like, hey, this is my little buddy. He want to play snare. The band director like, man, we got too many snares. Yeah. You know, and it was a lot of snares. And Jamaro was like, don't worry about it. He going to play what I play. Yeah. And I was just like, you know, I'm 7th grade going to the A. I'm like, all right, whatever. Yeah. Jamaro played what's called a mellophone. It's a marching style of a French horn, equivalent to like a trumpet. Gotcha. So I knew nothing about that. You know, of course, growing up in church, you know music. Yeah. And so Jamaro taught me how to play. Wow. Yeah, he taught me how to play.
Shout out to you, bro.
Yeah, man, because in band culture, if you start in junior high, by the time you make it to high school, you're what's known as like they call you a crab if you're a freshman. Okay. But if you started early, you what's called like a super crab. You know, just follow me here. I got you. It's not an insult. It's actually a great thing. Okay. So when I made it to the 9th, I'm what's called like a super crab, which is basically like you're a big dog of your peers. Got you. Okay. So people who waited till they got in the 9th to get in the band, I had a little bit more you know what I'm saying? I got some experience. So I was already kind of above them at that time. And man, the craziest part about that, and you know, I'm still hurt about not making it to the NFL. But the crazy part about that, man, is man, when I got to high school and I started making my way through the band or whatever, coaches started like approaching me my height, you know. Wow, of course. You want to play basketball, you want to play football.
And I never seen you. You just tall.
Yeah, because I'm tall, and by then, like I saw where I was going. Yeah. You know, I had it in my eyes. I was like, I was like, I'm good on sports, man, but it hurt me so bad. Yeah. I'm still hurt to this day. Man, when I see people on TV and they say like, you know, 6'2", 6'3", 190, I'm like, that's me.
Yeah, you were that.
Yeah, that's me. Like, bro, I'm telling you now, for anybody who watching, y'all better be glad I didn't go to Lee, then Neville, because I would have made it, man. I like, man, what?
Hey, man, everything else.
Hey, but don't get me wrong. I love Carroll, man.
Everybody
oh my God.
For sure.
Oh my God, I love Carroll. I love it.
Let's stick a pin right there because I skipped something. Let's talk family dynamic. I know you mentioned your pops was a quartet singer, and your mom sang quartet also.
Absolutely.
How was that relationship growing up?
Man, it was great. Like I said, I was always gone. So the relationship between me and my mom when I was young, I can remember she liked to draw or doodle. Really? So to this day, like my words when I write got curves and like
Wow.
Like I can't write just a regular T. It's gotta have like a little
extra stuff.
Yeah, it's got some extra in it. You know, if you looked at my handwriting without knowing me, you would probably think I was a little, you know what I'm saying? But nah, but that's because my mom, man. Like, and so I don't know if you remember these commercials when we were young about like you could send in a drawing or whatever.
Yeah,
I used to do that.
Really?
Yeah, man. My mom kind of got me into it. She probably don't even remember that, but she got me into that. So I was in talented art.
Yeah.
I remember they picked us up on a school bus and took us to this, probably what was the school board office, but I don't know what it was. There was some building. It was kids from all different schools, and I remember one of the tests they told us a story, and we had to illustrate whatever they were saying.
Okay.
So I qualified for talented art.
Wow.
Going into junior high, I also qualified for all the gifted classes because anybody who went to J.S. Clark back then, once you go to Carroll or anywhere else, you going straight gifted. Yeah, you straight gifted.
Yeah.
So I did all that, and my mom, I was kind of on cruise control.
Wow.
So me and my mom relationship was just mostly like, you know, cool. Like, I mean, I think I used to get in trouble for making all A's and then having like a C or a D in conduct because I talk too much.
Okay.
Or the teachers used to say my voice carried. Didn't know what that meant, but I guess if you got a deeper voice, it carry in the class.
Sure.
But so she would get mad that like, you know, you got a bad grade in conduct, and my dad would like, you know, she'll be like, you know, I'm gonna tell you, Dad, whatever. My dad take me to the room and just be like, hey man, that don't even count. You know what I'm saying? Like my dad would say like, you know, conduct don't count.
More literal person.
Yeah, he was just like, I don't see the problem. You passing everything else. You know what I'm saying? So he like, look, just try to chill. You know, I remember my dad only whooped me once in my whole life. And it wasn't even really like a whooping. It was like, it was a wet towel on my grandma's fence. And I did some, I don't know what I did. And he took it and like pop like twice.
But we used to play with each other like that.
Yeah, it hurt. I ain't gonna lie, but I think my pride hurt it more because he whooped me.
His dad.
Yeah.
He did something to try to hurt me.
But I mean, that was basically the dynamic. You know, I was what you call like a smart aleck. I was super intelligent in school, and sometimes I would bring that home like I just know everything. You know what I'm saying? So me and my mama would bicker a little bit, but she was always like super proud of me. I think I won a Dare Essay trophy or whatever.
Wow.
You know, like I was never afraid to like speak in public, stuff like that. So, you know, I think I can't speak for her, but I think from her point of view, I was like the show off. You know, that's my baby playing the drums. That's my baby singing.
That's cool, though.
You know, and so that was pretty much the dynamic between us. And then when I started getting them little checks, when I couldn't even cash them, she used to have to cash them for me.
For sure.
And because she saw how much the check was, you know, sometimes if I asked for some, she'll be like, you know, you got paid.
That is
you know what I'm saying? So yeah. That was pretty much the dynamic between that. Yeah.
But you were close to both of your parents for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I feel like I was closer to my dad only because when I was around him, it wasn't so much about clean your room or nothing like that. It was just, you know, the music life, you know, being on the road, you know, staying up late. I remember, you know, when you're on the road, you stop at a gas station, you don't really, everything else closed. Yeah. That was even before like McDonald's and stuff would stay open 24 hours. Yeah. So you stop at a gas station, you get chips, some sweet, and something to drink. And so he would eat skins.
Wow.
He would eat skins,
a
RC. He would drink a RC and a honey bun. That's the sweet.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I would get the same thing growing up. I'm you know 8 years old drinking a RC, a honey bun, and some skin. It's killing it. So, you know, I mean, it's crazy because now in my older age, my generation talk about cartoons and stuff. And I don't know any of them, like anime and Dragon Ball Z. I didn't get a chance to watch it because I was always gone. So I think I only really know like Rugrats and
I love Rugrats.
You know, most of the cartoons I know, they were like cartoons of like adult type stuff.
Got you.
You know, you know, so I don't really know any of like my cartoons. And I can't reminisce with people my age.
Let me ask you this question about your pops. Firstly, did you ever aspire to be like him? Or did the quartet life, did you ever aspire to be this quartet star, this singing star? You know what I mean?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No, I never really loved quartet. Mm-hmm. I fell in love with honestly, I fell in love with just like playing the drums and like people saying you really good.
Wow.
You know, I can remember when in this area nobody was doing the double kick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, you know, we finally learned. I think Sorrento dad stayed around the corner, and one day, Chris Lowry, he said, get a tennis ball and roll your foot on the tennis ball.
Wow.
Press down on the ball and roll your foot, and that's how I learned how to double kick. And I probably was double kicking way too much. You know what I'm saying? But at the time, I was doing it, and people who couldn't do it were just like, oh my God, you know what I'm saying? So I was falling in love probably with just like people loving that what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And also making money at a young age. You know what I'm saying?
So you never felt pressure to follow his footsteps?
No, I never wanted to be a lead singer or anything like that, even though eventually I started doing background and stuff like that, singing or whatever, but I never aspired to do any of that. I think the money started taking over like once you start playing like 2 or 3 churches at a young age.
Yeah,
and you know, you bringing in, I mean, they probably was only paying like 75,
in
you know, whatever.
Ones.
Yeah, and all ones, but your peers ain't got that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And so you cashing, you can't even, I'm still not cashing my own checks, but in a sense you cashing your own checks, you making your own money at a very young age. And so you got concession money, all this other stuff. And so you know, I think I fell in love with that, honestly. Wow. I honestly fell in love with that, and just the feeling of just like making money by doing something you love.
Let me ask you this on the flip side. Even at a young age, did you ever get the whole we can't pay you thing? After getting paid for a while, did you ever have any bad experiences with the pay thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Even starting out from my very, very first church ever I played drums for, I guess because it was my home church, I don't even think they ever thought about paying me. But, I mean, you knew my dad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
For sure.
that wasn't happening. You know, I wasn't doing nothing for free.
Yeah,
so, you know, it kind of happened. I mean, it's pastors I know to this day that owe me from when I was 17. You know what I'm saying? 18 years old or whatever. And I remember one. Man, I'm not going to even really go all the way into detail, but I remember one pastor, I was like 17 or 18, and he called my mom to get me to play at his church, and, you know, she told me about it, and I played at his church, and, you know, it went well for a couple weeks, and then he didn't pay me. And so, you know, I showed up the next week, or some way or another, he didn't pay me one week, and so he paid me double another week, not the next week, but one time he ended up paying me double. And I guess he forgot that he didn't pay me one week, and I took that as my payback. And so that was my last day after we read up. I was out. I was like, okay.
Y'all broke even.
Yeah, we broke even. So he called my mom and everything, and I think my mom just like, oh, I can't tell him. And so I started taking the personality a lot of my dad. I think I got the heart from my mom, like the heart I got for people. From my mom, but the no nonsense, like
that's why I asked that question.
Yeah, I got that from my dad.
Stuff like that happening early will pretty much mold who you are as a churchgoer, as a businessman, as a musician, because it's like, I don't want that to happen again. I don't want that. So did you start moving differently after that happened? Even from I'm being employed at church standpoint.
Absolutely. But I was at that point. I started looking like what's my next thing. By then, I'm a senior in high school. I'm drum majoring. At that time, that's like equivalent to being a quarterback of the football team. You know, so like I'm at the height of my life, and you know, shout out to Mr. Clavery, but anybody who came up under him. And Michael Price as well. He was my senior band already. Like, you was almost guaranteed a full ride scholarship to college. But here's the thing, and I'm glad you brought this up, because I want to say this to anybody who's dealing with this. Like, when you're like young and in the church, and you popular and you getting paid in the church, a lot of times there's not a lot of focus on what you're doing, like in your like real life. Yeah. So I didn't really know much about college at all. Wow. All I knew about college was that, like, the people who I saw take full ride scholarships, they was back hanging around the band room like the next year.
Wow.
or either 2 years later. And that's no shade to anybody, but it's just like, that's what I saw. And so, my mentality is like, I'm making money. You know what I'm saying? So, and that wasn't even money, but so I'm thinking like, why would I go to college? And, I think the statute of limitations are up. We used to get hazed. So I'm like, why would I go to college and get hazed all over again? I'm a big dog now.
For the free.
Yeah, for the free.
Yeah, you ain't making no money.
Yeah, and so, man, it was a Navy recruiter, man. Had an expedition on 24s, man. And when I was in school, man, he used to let me take his truck and drive. Let me keep it for the weekend, everything. And he just used to tell me like how much money I could make in the military. Wow. And nobody was really telling me otherwise. Like, nobody was like, man, you should go to college. In hindsight, I definitely would have went to college, but not like a general college. I would have went like to Full Sail University or like something specific for my gift set. I definitely would have done that, but I didn't know any. All I knew was like, band schools, HBCUs and band schools. And I was just like, it was cool, but I'm straight on that. Let me go get this money in the military. You know what I'm saying? So I went to the military, but I don't know. Like, I feel like, and I don't blame anybody, but I just feel like I didn't know a lot about life at that point because I was so, people looked at you like mature. You a church going boy. Yeah, I go to church, but do I go to church or do I go to work? You know what I'm saying? Like, I go to work.
And you so engulfed in that, man. You find yourself at that place of business every day. Yeah. With revivals and rehearsals. And
but people look at you like, man, he's so, and, I believe that I thought I, believed in God at the time. I feel like, I had a connection with God, not really understanding it, but I can just be honest with you, man. I was going to church as much as I did because I was getting paid. You know what I'm saying? Like, sure. I was getting paid, like, just being honest with you. So, and I think, that masked a lot of things that people probably could have saw and like, man, he good at the church, but let me talk to you about this. This is your next step. So.
And they missed all of that because you was so engulfed in the whole church.
Yeah, man, playing drums.
So we gonna fast forward. So ninth grade, you a super crab.
Yeah, man, I'm a small big dog.
So what are you playing in the band 10th and 11th grade?
I'm 11th grade. I'm section leader. I'm playing mellophone. So for people who don't know, I'm the boss of everybody who play the same instrument.
You delegate.
I'm the big dog. So I get to do stuff like when the freshmen come in, I can make him dance in front of everybody or embarrass himself. Wow. Yeah, I'm a big dog in my 11th grade year, and everybody already hearing the rumblings of he gonna go for drum major.
Because that's the thing.
He next up.
So let me ask you this, in an even more personal question. So you go from Jazz Clark to Carroll. Carroll, as we know it, is way rougher than Jazz Clark.
Absolutely.
Or where you would have went. You get a whole new set of friends.
Not so much, but kinda.
It's a culture shock, though.
My 7th grade, I started hanging with the few people that went from Jazz Clark. Okay. But I knew then, no shade. But I knew right then that ain't gonna work because they wouldn't try. They ain't had a vision. I'm like, man, I can't go from here elementary to go back down. So I'm trying to find my way. So I started linking up with a good friend of mine, Chris Ferguson, and he was actually living overseas. Okay. His parents military, so he came to Carroll Junior High. I started linking up with him because I wasn't in the athlete circle no more because I quit. But what worked for me is Jamaro taking me to that high school my 8th grade year because my friends started being like 9th, 10th, 11th grade people. You know what I'm saying? So when I actually got to high school, I had friends already that was way older than me. So that helped out a lot.
So we're in high school now. Is Trandon as the person? Is he finding himself or is he changing?
Man,
because you're a church boy. That's what we.
I stayed church boy all the way through. Like I was a finesser too. Like I was in honors classes in junior high from Jazz Clark, but when I got to high school, I think around my 10th, 11th grade at Carroll, they let you get out on your own. You ain't got to talk to a parent or nothing. I was just like, look, band taking a lot of my life. I need to get out of these classes. Yeah. So it went from like whatever algebra 2 to like business math or
bro.
yeah, I'm telling you, man, on your own. Like I just got out on my own. It's like I'll switch out on my own. Exactly. Yeah. So no permission slip. You just tell them like,
hey, I'm stressed
hey, take me out of here, put me in here.
Yeah.
And so even the classes that I couldn't switch like that, I remember there was like a science class, maybe biology or something, I don't know, but it was some class, maybe English or something, that I would like skip a lot. Wow. But I would wear suits on like test day or whatever. Like me and my homeboy Richard Dansley, we would like wear suits, like the only people. And let me tell you how perception, and this is probably how I got into marketing and stuff a lot too. Perception will like change what people feel about you. The fact that I'm in a predominantly black school and everybody's trying to be a gangster, whatever like that. Man, this boy wearing hard bottom shoes and suits because we want to. Yeah. On a certain day, it'll make a teacher say, man, I ain't gonna give you, I'm gonna give you the A anyway. You know what I'm saying? And
you look nice.
Cause you look nice. Yeah. And they telling the other students, look at Trandon, you know, pull your pants up and, but you know, I mean, I was wearing suits from birth. You know what I'm saying? So it was nothing.
Long
I go the whole year without repeating the suit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was nothing to the point where the band already just started saying, y'all dressing up on Wednesdays. Wow. Yeah, and I'm not saying that was because of me. I don't know, but I was already doing it anyway. Sure. Yeah, so that was the perception. So nobody ever viewed me as the church boy. And I think that's what helped me out a lot too. Even though I was in church all the time, I still made a name for myself in school outside of that. So nobody thought I was like preacher Trandon or nothing. It was just, you know, the people who did know I played drums, they knew I played drums. But a lot of people didn't even know. That's crazy. You know, I think in the church world, I went by Montreal. Yeah. At school, I was going by Welch or Trandon. You know,
and people don't realize I was growing up because this is gonna be funny. I had two different girlfriends growing up. When I was, I had a church girlfriend.
In a school girlfriend.
Because they never intertwine. Yeah. You know, like the lives, like the church. Yep. The church, which is a totally different world. And people don't understand, like sports, school, like them people never seen each other.
People never seen.
Man, I had a harder relationship with a girl I thought I was going to marry from school. But church, it was like, oh, yeah, that's my church girlfriend. I see her on the weekends at Bible study. Yep. And so I know the difference between that's church trade, that's school trade. You know what I'm saying? Like you two totally different people in most cases.
It helped for me because I actually had I've been named by all of my names that I have. Wow. So at church, people who still call me Montreal, I know they know me from church.
Right.
You know, if they say Trail or Montreal, it's church. Yeah. If they say Welch, well, if they say Welch or Trandon, it could be school. If they say Welch, it's definitely like, if they only know me by Welch, it's music industry. Yeah.
So we're now in high school, junior high. You above, you the supervisor at your of all the other people that play the same instrument. And you say you still you. So you wasn't pressured even with like newer friends or a newer crowd of people or new culture to I guess do or be somebody else. Because that Carroll is a rough school. It's a lot of people that's real about their life. It's some people that act like that. So you never felt like you had to do any of those things to survive. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely not. Because you can fly above that at schools like that when you're popular. And so, like I said, back then, band was like, and people who watching this probably like, what? Yeah. But seriously, at black schools like that, band was like a thing, a real thing. Yeah. And because, like, if you good in band, you good in school. Like, you straight. You straight. You straight. So, you know, Jamaro kind of led me in, even with, like, from 8th grade. And so, by the time I got up there, I was straight. Plus, I still had, like, siblings or whatever, but I made a name for myself. You know, it was nothing. And I will say, shout out to my graduating class 2006. We had one of the most intelligent classes at the school, and I'm not just like saying that. I think statistically we had the most students to graduate at that time. Really cool. So, you know, we had a good group of students that a lot of us wasn't even on that. And that was around the time where people came from New Orleans. So, you know, it was already enough confusion there. So a lot of people was trying to, we were sticking together. So.
So senior year, you make drum major.
Yeah.
So explain to them how big of a deal that is, though. Because I know you said that's equivalent.
That's
to
gonna be
quarterback.
hard, man. Because I've been out of school, and I'm gonna share my age. I've been out of school, 15 some years, 16. You know what I'm saying? So it's changed a lot.
Well, then tell them about then how big of a deal it was.
Man, back then it's like I'm telling you.
School.
Back then it's like you're the star quarterback or the star point guard.
Yeah.
Like it's
like you the man.
Yeah, everybody know you. You had a few people. You had a few people who didn't realize like what that meant, and they would try to play with you. I remember this one guy. I'm not gonna say his name. I still remember to this day, but he was an underclassman and he didn't realize. And I think he was like, some people think drum major is just dancing or something like that. And so he was like, I heard him make a comment about a dancing dude or something like that, And so I took his girl to prom. You know what I'm saying? But
no.
So it's just like,
Trandon,
some people didn't realize like the magnitude that you carry as that guy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So here's some like, I don't even know this TMI, but I'm on your podcast.
Oh no, we talk.
Okay,
we talk.
So a lot of people, when you're in high school, there's a lot of peer pressure to, like have sex and I didn't do none of that in high school, but everybody thought I did because
of the position you in.
Yeah, and so that helped me out a lot, man. It wasn't pressure for me. It took the pressure off of me because I used to say, I'm straight, but people thought that was happening because
perception is everything.
Yeah, perception, man. They was like, he cool, yeah. Yeah, man. So chilling. I was chilling, bro.
Crazy,
I was chilling, man. And so that helped me out a lot, with just, popularity and everything like that. I didn't have to do what other people was doing to be popular because I was the guy you was going to see game night. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like if your boyfriend, hey, I'm finna move my hips in front of your girl.
Yeah,
and she's finna watch me do it. You know what I'm saying?
And this what people used to stay for the halftime show.
They used to stay for the halftime show, stay for after the game.
Yes.
Little kids used to be like, so, and shout out to the school because, my picture's still out there on the side of the bench, and it's almost, going 16, 17 years ago.
That's crazy.
And so, like, that meant something back then. Yeah. I saw the band director post the other day on Facebook that, like, no upperclassmen showed up to band camp or something. Man, like, you would feel like your life is over with. You miss band camp. Like, I'm gonna just be honest with you. Back then, man, you used to get bruised, bro. Yeah. Like, it was tough. It was a tough. Man, you used to do your band. You used to learn that music before you did your homework.
Wow.
That's why I switched them classes because it was like, I got to learn this music. I'm going to get.
That's priority. That is
crazy, man. Yeah,
bro.
man.
But that's the culture.
That was the culture.
I've heard other stories very similar to that in way more detail. And I was like, oh, this is like football. It
was like that.
Like you playing during the week. You practice during the week. You game plan. It was the equivalent.
We had people who played sports who were in the band.
Wow.
Yeah, basketball players and football players who did both.
I don't see how. I don't see how.
Yep.
So let me ask you this question. So you went to senior year, you do well. You the drum major.
Yeah.
You graduate, all that cool stuff. So you enjoyed enjoyed your senior year big time.
Oh, absolutely.
So the plan, March, April of your senior year, was it you had already planned to go to the military?
Yeah, so like when it was time for like graduation and stuff, that's when I went up to the thing. I was 18 at the time, so I didn't need like parental consent or nothing. I just told my mom like I'm going to the Navy.
And that was because you saw dude in the big truck.
Yeah, it was a little bit deeper than that, but I don't know if he's still married and everything, so I don't want to like. Yeah. But he had me doing some wild stuff, like.
Okay.
But that was like by then, school was almost about over with, so I'm taking his truck, like, whatever like that. He was driving like the recruiter car. I don't know what he was doing, but he used to give me his truck. Yeah. And so his truck had like 412s in the back, 24.
So
I'm stunned, going to the club, all that. That's when I like started drinking a little bit and everything. Yeah, and so what he was showing me was like, oh, this the life. Yeah. So I had my dad, like everything was like, my mom was, she was working and everything like that. So it was just like, my mindset was like, all right, this is the best option. You know what I'm saying? Nobody else said anything different other than like, why you want to go to the military? But he was enticing me with a $20,000 signing bonus. Like, I'm a kid.
Money.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah,
money,
and a good
success, and
lifestyle.
how to maintain what I felt during high school. Like, I felt good my high school year. Felt good junior high, elementary. Junior high was a little shaky. Elementary was great. Yeah. So I'm like, I love this feeling. How do I maintain? So, you know, I had 2 months off, almost to a month and a half off, and went to boot camp.
Wow. So what? I don't know if we skipped this. What age did you lose your dad?
Man, to be honest with you, and this gonna sound crazy, I don't know.